Hi, Juliet.
Hi, Sammy. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. It's a lovely sunny day, so all good. How are you?
Yes, I'm feeling better with some sun. It always helps, doesn't it? Um,
Exactly. It
which
does.
actually is a really nice way of us maybe getting into this conversation. So last week we talked about kind of managing personal state and resourcefulness, and we promised to come back and have a conversation about and how do you do that. So we described above and below the line, um, but we wanted to get into a conversation about returning paths. How do you get back above the line, didn't we?
Exactly. Yes, because the practice and the skill, whatever we want to call it here, is about noticing where we are and getting ourselves back and accepting that we will go below the line regularly. So it's all about developing practices for noticing where we are and getting back. So yeah, it'd be really nice to share some of those kind of like top tips. Um,
Yeah,
so what works for you, Sammy?
fantastic.
When
Well, I'm going to start our timer.
oh, of course. Sorry, I'm too tasty.
I'm actually ready this time as well. It's all programmed in, so I'll give that a press, and we'll get into conversation around it then.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So when we were prepping for this conversation, we were talking about sort of two buckets, weren't we? Do you want to kick us off with those, and then maybe we can start to fill those buckets?
Well, it's so funny, isn't it? Because the two buckets have now morphed into three areas, one with two buckets. The more you think about this, because I think the joy of this is there are loads and loads of different practices that we can use to get ourselves back above the line.
Reset
The
a little bit.
three areas I kind of been thinking about since we chatted um, are individual practices that we can do on our own, um, relational practices, which is with other people, and nature based practices. And you could say that is relational too. So, in our relationship with nature and our presence and awareness of nature. Um, and so, it's for me, there's those three areas really. And then within the individual, we have practices that are about our body, so somatic practices, and then practices that are about our cognition and our mindfulness.
Mm.
So I kind of like think of it as those three areas. So maybe we could chip off the nature and relational quite quick and easy, and then look at the individual.
Yeah, yeah, lovely. And that the two buckets of kind of head and body are really nice as well, I think, because we often talk about, the head tells the body how to feel, or that's the assumption, but more often than not, the body's telling the head there's something wrong here, and
Yeah,
the head is rationalizing that. So
exactly.
let's touch into both of those.
Yeah,
Lovely. Well,
yeah.
go
Should
on.
we go there first?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah. And of course, these are false separations because of what you just said, that they're kind of
Yeah.
in relationship with each other and communication with each other. Um, well, do you want to sort of share what are some of your individual practices? And maybe that's a nice place to start.
Yeah. Um, so in the moment, I've certainly done it on these recordings. I've absolutely done it when we're facilitating and leading a group, and I've definitely done it in conversation with my partner. When you feel yourself go below the line, or those thoughts start to turn inward in that sort of survival nature, is taking a breath. And I love it because it's so beautifully simple. To your point, it's something I could do without anyone else noticing.
Mm.
Um, and um, and I think it's a moment of taking back control of some sort, even if it's just control of that moment. Like, actually, I'm going to wait a beat before I respond to this because I'm going to take time to have this breath, or I'm just going to notice that actually I need that moment in time. So I find that really useful as a way of just recognizing, when I go below the line, often I start rushing. And so
Mm.
taking that breath is a way of very concretely going, no, I'm going to stop rushing right now.
Mm. Yeah, lovely. Mm.
How about you?
A deliberate pause. Yeah,
Yeah,
so on the breath, I mean, there's loads of lovely techniques, and I definitely use them myself. Such as making sure you're breathing more into your belly and using
yeah,
diaphragmatic breathing, making sure the out breath is longer than the in breath,
mm,
or taking a quick inhale and a big sigh out, like that. That can help to regulate your nervous system. And then if I'm really below the line and I can feel it all over my body and, need something more rigorous, I do the box breathing where, you breathe in for the count of 4, you hold your breath for 4, you breathe out for 4, and then you hold your breath for 4, and you carry on doing that. Sometimes with my hands on my belly. And again, no one can see that you're doing it, or you might share it and do it openly with others.
yeah.
But they're just such powerful techniques for taking some control of our physiological response.
Mm. Yeah, I love box breathing. I've taught both the boys to do box breathing. So my eldest, who's 7, will, if he, if I say to him, how are we going to calm you down right now? Or how are you going to calm down right now? He'll say,
Yeah,
"Oh, I'm going to do box breathing."
yeah,
It's so beautifully simple and accessible, and yet, like you say, it takes back control of something that has taken control of itself.
yeah,
Often, our heartbeat will start to quicken, and therefore our breath. And so we're kind of retrospectively going, no, I'm going to do this the way that I want,
yes, yeah,
which is really nice. I think it speaks into the thought piece and the body actually by going,
yeah.
I'm making a choice right now.
Yeah, well, it requires you to be mindful of where you are and notice in the first
Yeah.
place, and then recognise you have a choice in that moment
Mm,
to shift your response. Um,
mm.
yeah, no, I love the breathing. I think they're really useful. My recent favourite is shaking, and we've been doing it
Yes.
with some groups recently, haven't
We
we?
have.
Sometimes just to wake up after a lunch break, but
Yeah.
when you can just feel the tension in your shoulders
Yeah.
and your stomach, and you've been below the line, you might be back up, but it's still in your body, and just
Mm,
shaking it out. Any kind of qigong practice. I mean, we see animals shake.
mm.
It's just a great way to get the hormones moving and just disperse that tension and that
Yeah.
energy. So
That's been really fun actually, hasn't it? You did that, you led a shake with a group of about 26 clients a couple of weeks ago.
yeah.
And I think maybe only 2 of them were like, "Oh, I'm not really into this." And everybody else, some a little bit, more with trepidation, but generally everyone was getting into it. And even the kind of orangutan, like really shaking it out was really, really fun and lovely.
Yeah. Well, this is it. It doesn't have to be something that we just hold and desperately practice on our own. I think the more we can
Mm,
share these things together, the more fun it is, and the more that then actually regulates your nervous system.
yeah,
Because well, one of the other buckets, even though we're in the individual space at the moment, is the collective, the relational.
mm,
So talking to others about how you're feeling, being alongside others, and actually in their presence, holding others, being held yourself.
yeah,
Our nervous systems co-regulate alongside others. So doing some of these individual practices together, you're kind of getting a double dose effectively.
yeah.
Um,
Which is all trust building as well, right? So you're feeding the relationship in a really beautiful way. Yeah.
exactly. But I would say my go-to and the thing that has really transformed.
I know that's gone really quickly.
We might
Okay.
need to do another one on
Well, we
this.
might need to, but let's go into some of the. Maybe you share your last one, and I'll share my cognitive, and we'll give ourselves a pass again this week, and next week we'll work really hard on being under 7.5 minutes.
Or maybe we just buy some time. I mean, some of the other ones are around the mindfulness practices, and there's lots of
Mm,
ways we can do that at work as well. And for me, a meditation practice has meant that I've been able to transform how I notice and get myself back above the line.
mm.
What about you?
Well, mine are the one that I use often was introduced to me years ago, and it doesn't sound as beautiful as your qigongs and meditation, but I do find it really, really useful. And it is in the thought space; it's in that cognitive space. So when I start to notice that self-talk of you're rubbish, or this session is terrible, or they don't trust you, or you're waffling, or whatever is going on, those new beliefs. I look for evidence to support if they're true or not. And it's a really conscious, like I will look around the room, like, is anyone yawning? Are 5 people gone to the toilet at the same time, because everybody has just decided this is terrible. I look for evidence to support that belief that I'm telling myself in that moment, like, you've lost control. This is going awfully. They don't trust you. And if I can't find evidence to support it, I then start to wonder about, so what evidence is there to counter it? Well, actually, people are still sticking with me. And I just saw someone take a note of something, or I've run this session before and I know people get value from it, or whatever it might be. I'm specifically in facilitation, but of course this is in meetings as well, or even just in conversations. And so that new evidence helps me shape the new belief that I need to hold of, okay, I've had a wobble here, but actually I'm quite good at this generally. And there's a relationship in place. And so, this is probably going all right.
Yeah. So
And if
that's a
that's
very cognitive technique, isn't it? It's very much
yeah,
thinking your way out of the situation by noticing your thoughts and then
yeah,
looking for evidence to counter them. Like, how true is that actually?
yes,
It's using your rational brain. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I was in a meeting just last night and I was chairing it and felt like the conversation had got away from me a little bit. And I definitely had a moment of going, oh my goodness, I'm a terrible chair. Is this the conversation we should be having? It was all self-belief. And I did that practice and got to the point where I was like, no, the evidence here is actually we just need to be in conversation and I don't need to be in control of that. And so this is going okay. And then I got back up above the line and was able to be in the conversation rather than obsessing over how it was being had.
Yeah, lovely. Yes. Well, I wonder if we do another 7.5 minutes on some of the other techniques and what we've heard people, some of our clients using
Yeah,
when they're in the workplace, and but also in our personal lives, because they
yeah,
affect each other.
yeah, absolutely.
There's more mileage.
Lots more, yeah, and we can keep collecting it and bringing it here.
Yeah, brilliant.
Awesome.
Lovely.
Thanks, Juliet. That was lovely.
Great. Thank you, Sammy.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.